Wolves 0.
Okay.
For the gamblers, that game has a very big odd. Bournemouth to win has a very big odd. So if you can stick now, Bournemouth is winning that game.
Welcome to Tactics and Touchlines. This evening, we are having a discussion about the EPL. It's the second game week coming up, and there are some exciting games coming up. With the EPL, you already know that it comes with a lot of excitement. And this weekend, we have Manchester City against Tottenham. That would be our game we'll be discussing. But we'll go into some of the games, some of the big clubs that picked up some points in the game week one. Some couldn't pick some points. Some also went on to lose. We'll go into discussion and look at their upcoming games, what they'll be able to do in this particular season. Welcome to this channel. We always say join us, subscribe, and share it with your friends so that you'll be able to get quality and exciting content like this. So we'll look at the EPL fixtures coming up. Then after that, I'll go to my pundit and we'll discuss what is coming on. So some fixtures coming up this weekend. On Friday, West Ham vs Chelsea. On Saturday, 11:30, Man City Tottenham. Bournemouth Wolves will be playing. Brentford Aston Villa. Burnley Sunderland. That's the championship team playing together. Arsenal Leeds. Crystal Palace Nottingham Forest. Not Everton Brighton. Fulham Man United, and the Newcastle Liverpool. I think that game on a normal day wouldn't have raised a lot of eyebrows. So I want us to start from the West Ham Chelsea game. We'll do 3 games, then we'll move to the Manchester City Tottenham game. Don't forget to subscribe. As I always say, subscribe, scan the QR code, join our Telegram group, get a chance to have the conversation with us in the group, and share your comments so that we can also invite you onto the show so you can have discussions with us. You are welcome, Raf. You are welcome, Prince, onto the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's look at the West Ham Chelsea game coming up. Chelsea's first game, they played at home to Crystal Palace, which was a 0-0 draw. And West Ham also got defeated by Sunderland, the newly promoted side, by 3-0. Raf, I want to start from you. Were you surprised from the scoreline from the West Ham Sunderland game?
Wow.
And do you think Graham Potter is one coach who would really suffer this season if he doesn't up his game? Because a game against Sunderland and you have to lose 3-0 raised a lot of eyebrows. What do you think Graham Potter needs to do to be able to get this West Ham team going boot to boot with Chelsea coming up on Friday?
The Kudus Mohamed's departure from West Ham has really affected the team in a way. They don't currently have, let me say, the number 10 man or the creative spark in that team. I mean, Kudus used to play with Lucas Paqueta, but now basically Paqueta is now alone. Nobody helping him, pulling the strings here and there. They've signed this a black guy, Malik Diop.
Yeah.
Yes, very good player, but he's now settling into the Premier League. It will take some time, unlike Kudus Mohamed. And I think Graham Potter has to get certain things right. The West Ham team wasn't playing too well last season. They were on the brink of getting relegated. They even fought hard to escape relegation. And this season, I didn't see them making some good signings. And I'm even surprised Lucas Paqueta has not gotten an offer from any other club. Maybe due to his issues, his betting scandals and the betting issue, that has made some teams move away from him a bit. But then if we'll be very, very honest, the West Ham team is a very bad shape. For example, the game they lost to Sunderland. Look at the Sunderland team and newly promoted us into the Premier League. Look at the players they bought. Some quality players. They signed a player from Atletico Madrid, if I stand to be corrected. Ronaldo, the Mozambique centre-back. Quality player who was playing at top football is now playing for Sunderland. Okay? Regri, he has the coach has a French name. Regri something. Very good coach. Look at how, yes, of course, beating Sunderland is a good step. It's a good step for the team, and they are ready and prepared not to go back to relegation. At least if they meet their teams they can be able to compete with, like the Burnleys, the West Hams, they have to get some points, because maybe it will be difficult for them to get points and get the likes of Liverpool, the likes of Manchester City, the likes of Arsenal. So these are the teams they must be beating. So Graham Potter has to work things out. The transfer window has not ended. If there's a need for him to get a player, he should quickly do that. West Ham is not a club that can say that's not how they have the financial muscles. So I'm saying if he wants to really do well this season, he can still go in for another player to beef up the squad.
Okay, so looking at Chelsea Crystal Palace, were you surprised with the scoreline 0-0? And what do you think Enzo Maresca needs to do to be able to go into this game, a wounded West Ham, to also take advantage of them Do you think the world champions are now having issues trying to score goal? Or as some fans were complaining, their pitches are a bit smaller, which gives low block teams the chance to also pack the bars against them?
The Chelsea team has been a bit fatigued. I don't know how my Chelsea fans will take this one, but after the Club World Cup, the injury to Cole, basically Cole is out of the season.
Yeah.
Even if he's back, it will take about 2 months. And that 2 months, if Cole comes back, he will not be match fit. He will not get that match fitness to be able to play in the league. So basically, Cole is out of the season. And I feel Chelsea played they played with a very high intensity at the Club World Cup. And now the season is starting. It's so bad that jogging. Ben, I remember we spoke about that, how the teams are going to fare with injuries and other things after the Club World Cup. And it is being evidently clear that some of the players are getting tired if you don't have the squad depth. But I was very much impressed with the Chelsea defender who played against Mateta the last time, a champion, the Ghanaian boy. He did very well against Mateta, the big boy who even Van Dijk sometimes finds it difficult. So Chelsea getting a draw against Palace, I will not be too surprised. But after Chelsea beat Paris Saint-Germain, I give Chelsea the nod to beat Palace. I felt Liverpool was not defensively solid enough. Therefore, we considered 2 goals against Palace. Eventually went to the penalties and then we lost. But then I felt Chelsea could have beaten Palace. But after watching the first 15, 20 minutes, I said, no, Glasner came with a game plan. Now Glasner has made a statement clearly that he's a top manager. And maybe in some years to come, I'm seeing some of the big teams poaching this manager if nothing changes. But the way he set up his team, even though some key players will be out of the team, like Eberechi, Eze, and the Maguire, who their heads are being turned, you know. But I feel Glasner and the Palace team, Palace is a team toward this season. Even if Eberechi Eze leaves the team,
Okay, so going into the West Ham Chelsea game, these are 2 teams in their last meeting at the West Ham or the London Sports Stadium. Their last 2 meetings ended in Chelsea winning 3-0 in the recent one, and also West Ham winning 3-1 against Chelsea in a season 2 seasons ago. Do you think we are going to see a high scoring game, and who are you tipping to win this game?
West Ham knows what is at stake at Chelsea. Chelsea, after drawing their first game against Palace, of course, they are not too happy. The best for Graham Potter is to come sit back and hit Chelsea on a break with Jared Bowen leading the line. But if he tries to open up, Chelsea are a bit worried. Things are not going too well after the first game. People were speaking, oh, Chelsea is not, their front line is not too sharp. Even though they have Joao Pedro and Liam Delap, people are already complaining that their front line is not too sharp and etc. So I feel what Graham Potter has to do is that he should sit back solidly and hit Chelsea on a break. But I feel the pressure from Chelsea will be too much for them to handle. Looking at Pedro Neto, then Estevao, all the attacking power Chelsea has, they are going to throw everything at West Ham. I see Chelsea beating West Ham 2-0.
Okay, Chelsea beating West Ham by 2-0. Prince, I want us to look at the Fulham Man United game. After Man United Arsenal, do you think Man United has really improved? And also, looking at the Fulham setup, they had a 1-0 victory or a 1-1 against Brighton. Do you think, with both sides, do you think Man United has really improved with the attack of Mbuemo, Cunha, and also Sesko joining in? Or you think it's their normal routine when they meet big teams, they just go in and perform so well, and against smaller clubs, their performance are a bit low? Going into this fixture, who do you think has the upper hand? And what should Ruben Amorim do to be able to get this Man United team running?
Okay, thank you. Talking about Manchester United, I think I saw a bit of pieces of some progress in there against Arsenal when they played us. So I actually want to commend Ruben Amorim because the way he played against Arsenal, even though he lost the game, but you could see the intensity in the game. Matheus Cunha was so exceptional, and the back line of Euro and Delete, they were so good. And my only issue is with the fact that he plays Bruno deep. That's the issue, because if you want to see the best come out of Bruno, you need to play him close to the box, which is the 10 rule, number 10 rule. So playing deep has a way of limiting his those passes. So, and looking at how Casemiro was very effective against Arsenal, and going into the Fulham game, I just hope they can replicate the same performance they did against Arsenal going into the Fulham game. That would be an advantage to them, because I also watched a bit of the Fulham against Brighton game that ended 1-1, where Brighton took the lead and Fulham came from behind to equalize the score over there. So Fulham would also come in with a plan to look at getting a point in there. And I think Fulham is playing home against United. So they want to take advantage of the fact that they are going to play at their home ground. So I would want to see Amorim come up with a system that will have Bruno play up front, that will have Bruno dominate more in front of goal than being at the back. You understand? If there's a way he can also introduce Sisco in there, he just do something, tweak the formation in a way that helps Bruno supply the balls up front easily. You understand? Because when you happen to put him with Casemiro behind, some of these balls would have to be intercepted before it gets to the strikers. It's going to be intercepted and all that. So I wish Amorim the best, because looking at how he played against Arsenal, he did so well, and I'm impressed.
Okay, you talking about Bruno not moving back and joining, that is the double tens. Do you think now Amorim has a lot on his hand, because he has Cunha and Mbeumo coming in as new signings? Bruno can play that number 10 role. Mason Mount is performing so well in that number 10 role. Even Ahmad, being the fit player on there, can also play that number 10 role. I think now Amorim is having a lot on his hand, especially picking two players for that particular role and going against a team like Fulham, who would sit back and not counter, or sit back and not push a lot of possession like what Arsenal did. Do you think it will affect his player selection going into this game?
Yeah, I think Amorim has a lot on his table to choose from, but it's also an advantage when you look at it from the point where there's a long season. It's going to be an advantage for him, because there are injuries in here and there. Kai Havertz just picked up an injury and he's going to be out for over 4 months. So Arsenal would have to jump into the market and get a replacement. So if you have so much options up front where you can just choose from, I think it's an advantage at the long run. So he should just find a way. My concern is find a way to play Bruno up front, at least helping the attackers, because the kind of productivity Bruno will give you up front, you won't get it from Mount. Let's be honest, you won't get it from Mount. Bruno could just stand anywhere and throw a pass in there, and before you see, it's just a tapping away to get you a goal. So yeah, Fulham is going to sit back, want to hold on to the pressure from Man United, and want to beat them on the counter. So Amorim should just pick the best players that will help him in this game, because Marco Silva, that is the coach of Fulham, who is also a very good coach. He's a very good coach. This Spanish coach that has a quite good things on the CV. So he should just put up a good fight and make sure he gets the 3 points from. Is it a Craven Cottage? The Fulham team?
Yes.
Yeah. Craven Cottage.
Yeah, so looking at this fixture, in their last 5 meetings at the Craven Cottage ground, Man United has won all 5, and the last 2 meetings has been a 1-0 victory. Are you seeing any upset here, or we are going to see a repetition of Man United winning? And what do you think the scoreline would be?
I personally think if it's going to be an upset, then it should be a draw, because honestly, I was so impressed with the way United play against Arsenal. Even though Arsenal weren't at our best, but I don't know if Arteta was trying to look at how strong or how defensive his team is going to be going forward in the league. So looking at what Man United put up against Arsenal, I think going against Fulham, I don't think there'll be an upset. I think it's either going to be a win for United or a draw.
Okay. So, Ralph, let's look at our next game for your club. That is Newcastle versus Liverpool at the St. James Park. And on any day, this fixture wouldn't have been an eye-raiser type of fixture. But with Alexander Isak's conversation going on at the St. James Park, I think there are a lot of people's eye would be on this particular game. In the last meeting between these both clubs, it ended in a 3-3 draw. Do you think with the intensity of this Isak story on Isak transfer saga going on would affect the game? And also, what do you think Arne Slot needs to do? Because his first game against Bournemouth, Liverpool went to go up and sat down for Bournemouth to equalize for 2-2 before winning a 4-2 win. Do you think Arne Slot needs to add another centre-back to his setup? And also, do you think he also needs to find a DM now? Clubs are using the middle of the pitch to attack Liverpool.
With the centre-back situation, Liverpool has signed an 18-year-old boy from Parma. That is Giovanni Leoni. Fantastic player. And then with Liverpool playing against Newcastle at the St. James Park, I can't remember the St. James Park where we were even down by 1 man. We were even able to come back and beat them by 2-1. Now, the Alexander Isak's conversation surrounding the game and everything is going to play a big role in influencing what we are going to do on the day. Slot is a very, very good learner, a very fast learner as such. When we played against Bournemouth, after we scored the first 2 goals, whereby Bournemouth came back and equalized through Antoine Semenyo, he substituted 2 wing backs in Jeremy Frimpong and then Milos Kerkez. And that was what affected Liverpool and they equalized all the 2 goals. And in that same game, he corrected his mistake, brought on Joe Gomez and Wataru Endo. Joe Gomez should just go to the right side of defense, just make sure that he doesn't even bomb for it, just be there and defend for us. That is a coach who is able to learn on the game. But as the game is ongoing, he's able to do some changes and learn in the game. That is one thing I like about Slot. Even though we have our defensive problems, you get it. So I believe Slot, after our game against Bournemouth, which we won by 4-2, which was a very, very tight one, and in our next game, Slot is going to change something. He's not going to open up the defense like that again. He knows what the EPL is capable of doing. Even mid-table teams are competing with the top teams, and league champions suffering to beat a Bournemouth. That should tell you how intense the Premier League is. So I believe in our next game against Newcastle, the atmosphere will be very hostile for the Liverpool players to make the noise and everything. Liverpool should just stay calm. They are going to attack Liverpool. I was telling my friend, look, even though sometimes you have the best players, Florian Wirtz, Ketike, you have the Salahs, you have the... Sometimes sit back, allow the opponent to come at you with the ball. You don't have to dominate every game. So with our game, what Slot has to do, we might not be able to match them boot for boot in terms of physique. Because that Joe Linton and that Bruno Guimaraes, they are very strong guys, they are stubborn guys. Those Brazilian guys, even Sandro Tonali, the Italian mafia, stubborn guys who can bully us into the game. We should just stay solid. Florian Wirtz is not the strongest of players. I can't talk about Florian Wirtz. He's just now coming to the league. He has to bulk up in the gym. So I believe they will come to attack Liverpool with all the anger. Liverpool will just sit back. We have the quality in front of goal to attack them on a counter-attack. Hugo Getike, he has the pace. Mohamed Salah has the pace. Cody Gakpo has the pace. We will just sit back. We should allow them to play the game. And Liverpool get the 3 points.
Okay, so Liverpool getting the 3 points. Do you think we are going to see a score line we saw the other time? And what is your score prediction for this game?
I'm not too confident about Liverpool's defense. I see Liverpool winning the game by 3-1, by 3-1. The quality in attack is so huge. We are going to win the game by 3-1. They are going to get a goal, by Liverpool winning the
game. Okay. So, Prince, let's look at Arsenal against Leeds United. And with stats-wise, Arsenal, with a playing against a newly promoted side, Arsenal has played 42 games, have won 37 and drawn just 5. Meaning it's hard for newly promoted side to beat Arsenal when they come into the Premier League. And one of Arsenal's greatest weapons from last 2 seasons, coming into this season is the corner kick. They've scored 31 goals from corners. Do you think going into a game against Leeds United, Arteta would come with a different shape? And also, what are you looking out for? Do you think Arsenal needs to sit back and play on a counter as they did against Man United, or they should open up and play against a Leeds team who dominated against Everton in their first fixture?
I think with Arsenal against Leeds, Arsenal is going to host Leeds at the Emirates, so that's also an advantage over there for the Arsenal fans to want to welcome the team back home. And I think with Leeds, they won their game against Everton. I don't know, but they won their game against Everton yesterday.
Everton, yeah, 1-0 on penalty.
Yeah, won against Everton. Yeah. So honestly, it will be a tricky game. It won't be a game that will come on a silver plate, silver spoon like that. So we just have to first of all look into the weakness of the Leeds United. I didn't watch the game against Everton, so we're going to take advantage of the fact that they are coming from the Championship and we have the EPL experience. We've been playing the EPL for a while now, and they haven't. So we're going to take advantage of that. And the fact that we also have a strong defense. And with the set pieces, I think it's just something that we've taken advantage of, looking at what works for us. So when you clearly look at the numbers that comes in when you look at the goals that we get from the set piece, it's quite encouraging. But people will criticize and be like, "Is that the only way to go?" That's not the only way to go. At least this is a game that we'll look at exploring other options, like putting the balls in there for Gokeres to get a goal. I think yesterday I read an article that has it that he will now be our set piece, our penalty taker, and I think it has a way of boosting his confidence coming into the EPL, because at Sporting he was their penalty taker. So if he's to get an opportunity to be taking the penalties over here, it's going to help him as well. So all in all, I think the best thing Arteta should do is to open up the game. There's not a team that we should be scared of. There's not a team that we should be too defensive about. We just open up, play the game, and take chance when it comes our way.
Okay. Arsenal taking their chances when it comes their way. Let's look at one of the biggest games coming up this weekend: Manchester City against Tottenham Hotspur. We've seen Pep Guardiola against Wolves dominating the game. Man City on the other hand, Tottenham on the other hand against Burnley also dominating. Both teams won by high margin, of course. Going into this game, Man City have never lost their first home game at Etihad. And if you are looking at the aggregate goals, they've scored 14 in one. So meaning they've scored 14 goals in their opening games in the last 4 seasons and just conceded 1. And on Tottenham's side, they are the second team when it comes to Liverpool, who have defeated Manchester City. So Liverpool has defeated them, that is 10 times, and Tottenham has defeated them 9 times. Going into this game, do we think that both coaches are well prepared for the game? And I want to start with Raf. What do you think Thomas Frank needs to do to be able to dominate Manchester City at the Etihad ground? Should he repeat the same structure or the same plan he did with Paris Saint-Germain, or he should go boot to boot with Manchester City and make sure that he would get the best out of his Tottenham setup?
Thank you very much, Ben. I would like to have a small bite on the Arsenal game, just some 1 minute. I totally disagree with anybody who's going to criticize Arsenal because they are using set pieces. I don't know why they are doing that. I don't know why some section of fans are criticizing Arsenal because they are scoring with set pieces. Who is stopping you from appointing a set piece coach? When Mikel Arteta brought Steve Bold as a set piece coach or as a defense manager, nobody complained. Now, we even talk about the innovations and then the technologies that are advancing the game. Arsenal have appointed somebody to be in charge of set pieces. So if Arsenal is scoring from set pieces, it is not a problem. Find a way to stop them. They don't have the tallest of players. Newcastle has a Botman, they have Dan. They are tall. And that has like Ekitike, Gakpo. But we don't normally score from set pieces. So if they are able to do it, that is their weapon. So it's okay. I don't know why Arsenal should be criticized for that. Now, going to the game, Thomas, if it was under Andy Postecoglou, this game would have been an easy win or a cheap meat for Pep Guardiola. But Thomas Frank has shown to the world that he's a very quality manager. He knows how to set up his team very well, defensively and offensively. Look at how he played against Paris Saint-Germain, the world champions, the great team. Look at how he played against Paris Saint-Germain. Look at how he played against the first game of the season. Look at how they were playing. For himself, Kudus Mohamed, Richarlison, who was even not tipped to start a game for Spurs, started due to the injury or match fitness of Dominic Solanke, had a beautiful goal. Now Spurs is playing very well. But on the day, the experienced Pep Guardiola will bring on board the Erling Haalands, the Omar Mamouche. These guys, the experience they have, look, Spurs will fight hard. Spurs are going to play their best. But on the day, I see Manchester City winning the game. Guardiola doesn't want to lose twice. This guy, he's hot now. He's greedy now. He wants to win everything one more time before he leaves the club as the greatest Manchester City manager ever. He doesn't want to lose any other thing again. So on that game, on tactics, pure and tactics basis, Guardiola wins the game.
Okay. Prince, from your side, do you think Guardiola's Man City are well established and prepared for the season because of their last game they played against Wolves? And going into this game, what do you think Pep Guardiola needs to do to be able to shut down Thomas Frank's attack and also make sure he wins the game? And also let me know your score prediction for this particular game.
I think first of all, let me go with the score prediction. I would like to I don't know, but I personally will want to see this game get very intensive, and maybe a 2-2 draw will be okay, because these are two teams that are going to come in with all their arsenals and want to get a point in there. And looking at Thomas Frank, the way he played against PSG and even lost, they played very well, but unfortunately the substitution did affected in the latter part of the game. And the Burnley match was a cool show, because at least Burnley is not a tough side for him to want to battle with. But so this Man City game will be his first tough challenge in a season. So a 2-2 draw will go. I'm looking at Kudus being someone that is going to worry Guardiola's City, because I think the last when they played him, he scored an overkick when they lost. I think it was the last game City played. I think or something, yeah. And he scored an overkick, and I think Guardiola himself gave a nice compliment about how good Kudus was, even in the West Ham colours. So now that he's in Tottenham, I think he'll be a very big threat for the likes of Akanji. I don't know if Akanji is going to play, but because Gavardio is injured, so I'm looking at Akanji playing from that flank, and he might be a very big threat for Akanji or anyone who comes his way. So I'm just looking forward to how Guardiola will set up his team. Not too much of trying to be too offensive just because he wants to get the goals, but also look at protecting the back line so he doesn't get to concede more. Because looking at how Richarlison has picked up his form, the form that he had at Everton, he has picked up again, and he just scored 2 goals. Someone will say it's just against Ben, but this guy is a good guy if he's given a chance and is given the opportunity. So I think Tottenham against Man City, I'm looking at a draw, because I'm looking at they going head to head against each other. So a 2-2 draw is something I'm looking at.
Looking at their games, the first game ended in a 4-0 win for Tottenham, and the second game ended in a 1-0 win for a team, Manchester City. Going forward, do we think that this game would repeat what last season did? Man City played at home and lost, and Tottenham also played at home and also lost. Do you think Tottenham can go to Manchester City and get the victory for Thomas Frank?
Okay, this is a new coach, that's Thomas Frank from the previous coach. Angie Posotogu. So looking at Thomas Frank, he has a new philosophy, or probably he has a different philosophy, he has a different style, and he has a different approach. So this might not be similar to what happened last season. I think he might want to approach it in a different way, way far from what Angie did last season. So honestly, this is going to be a tough match. I don't see any of them want to take in the game or leading with more goals like they did in their first games. I don't think Tottenham will even have the chance to score more goals like they did against Burnley. Same as City doing it against. It's going to be a neck and neck, something that they want to struggle and probably have a breaking time 2-2 over there.
Okay, so before we come to the end of the show, I want us to do a quick match prediction on some of the EPL games coming up. So each person would have 2 games to predict the correct scoreline of their games, and we'll see how it goes. So with Raf, let's look at Bournemouth against Wolves. What do you think the scoreline would be?
Bournemouth 2, Wolves 0. For the gamblers, that game has a very big odds. Bournemouth to win has a very big odds. So if you can stick now, Bournemouth is winning that game.
Okay.
Ben, please, the second game is
Brentford Aston Villa. What do you think the scoreline would be?
Brentford, after losing their game at Sunderland, are a bit wounded now. Aston Villa had a goalless draw, even though they had one man down. That is as reconciled when had a red card. Newcastle was still unable to beat them. Wow, that game is difficult. I see both teams scoring. I see a 1-1 in that game.
Okay, a 1-1 in that game. With Prince, let's look at Crystal Palace against Nottingham Forest. What do you think the scoreline would be?
This game will be a tough game because with the first game, Nottingham scored, I think, three goals. And they are very prolific up front. Even though they lost a player in there to Newcastle. One of Nanga left and went to Newcastle. So, and I think it will be a 2-1 win for Nottingham Forest. Who are they playing against again?
Crystal Palace will be playing at home against Nottingham Forest.
So Crystal Palace is playing at home?
Yes.
Wow. This is going to be tough because Crystal Palace too, Charlie. They are very stubborn. Okay. So let's have a go Crystal Palace win. So let's say a 2-1.
A 2-1 win for Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace, yeah.
Okay. And the last game is Burnley against Sunderland, newly promoted side in the Premier League. What do you think the scoreline would be?
I want to go for Sunderland because looking at the signings that they've had to improve their squad and boost up their leadership by giving the captaincy to Granit Xhaka, who has the experience.
Exactly.
So I think that was a nice decision coming from the coach, who wanted an experienced person to lead the team from the dressing room. So, and looking at how they played against
West Ham,
and they scored them 3-0. I think they did very well. I didn't watch the game, but I think they did very well. So they might have an upper hand against Burnley that lost to Tottenham. So maybe a 2-0 win for Sunderland over there.
Okay. So we are looking at this weekend, the EPL games coming up, some exciting games coming up. Manchester City versus Tottenham. That is the big game everybody will be looking at. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also be part. Like, share your comments on some of the predictions you are looking at happening this weekend so that we can also read your comments next time we come on the EPL preview. Join our Telegram channel, get into the discussion and be part of the community. Scan the QR code below, check the link. You'll be able to join our fantasy league where a lot of managers are joining up. Excitement are also going on there. So thank you all for joining us on Tactics and Touchline. We'll meet next week for the EPL preview.